Hi, I'm Paul Keene. Most of you know me as a local school teacher who just retired after 25 years. And you're probably wondering why I'm wearing all these fancy clothes. Well, I'm going to tell you. I'm wearing these fancy clothes because they represent the academic degrees I've got. And I'm about to criticize the school board that paid my salary for 25 years. And every other school board in America. And school boards are in the business of handing out academic degrees. Next year, 3.4 million diplomas will be awarded in the United States. So if I'm going to criticize them, I better make sure I've got the stuff that they respect. And from the way the camera looks, it looks like half of it's fallen off. I'm going to show you that stuff in a few minutes. But first, I want to tell you the title of this video, and I want to share some vocabulary words with you. The title is Academic Striptease. And I want to talk to you about a few words first so you'll know where I'm going. The first thing I want to tell you about is something, it's called, I put it down here as rose. It's something I formulated from my own experience with my mother. Every mother knows you cannot rush a rose. Every mother who's ever raised a child in the world knows that children grow at different rates. Not all ninth grade students are ready to be tested on the ninth grade benchmarks which Bill and Melinda Gradgrind and the Princeton Educational Testing Service in their pomposity have told you ninth grade students should be able to achieve. You cannot rush a rose. You can't force children to grow. I know that after 25 years as a teacher, and I know that from my academic degrees. And I have a confession to make to you. For 25 years, I have been too cowardly to say that. I was afraid I would lose my job. I was afraid that my colleagues would spurn me and I would be working in a situation where I was hated. But I knew in my heart that was the truth. It is unkind and it is cruel to test late bloomers for things that early bloomers and regular bloomers can achieve. Now, I was a late bloomer. A late bloomer is somebody, it's the rose that can't be rushed. A late bloomer, in my case, I did poorly on tests. I always did poorly on tests. I still do poorly on tests. And I was socially awkward. My mother always said, well, he's a late bloomer. And thank goodness she said that. Because I want to tell you a little story about my high school guidance counselor. You know, in my senior year, and we have a picture here, I just found it the other day, of me at my junior prom. Can we drop that in either now or later? Look at that baby face and that Elvis hair. I used to be ashamed of how I looked. I thought I was, now I wish I looked that way. In high school, I flunked Latin. I had no language to present as a qualification when I wanted to apply to college. And then I took the SATs. And if you didn't have a language, you had to get a minimum of 1,000 on the SATs. I got 981, 19 points short of the minimum 1,000. And I was right in the middle of a class. There were 1,000 students in my class. I was about 499, right in the middle. I had all C's, B's, a few A's in English, and an F in Latin. And maybe an F in something else that I've forgotten. I was right in the middle of the class. So my guidance counselor looked me in the eye and told me, "You are not college material." Well, guess what? He's wrong. I'm wearing 4 college degrees right here, and I'm about to show them to you. He was wrong, and I have 4 college degrees. What happened to him? Well, he's gone to his reward, and a fine one, I'm sure it is. No adult should close doors to children. Ever. Adults' responsibility is to open doors. And so I am ashamed of myself for having left the door of standardized testing closed, unopened, unchallenged for all 25 years that I was a teacher. Now I want to write the word grad grind. Have you ever heard of it? Thomas grad grind. And I couldn't find a yardstick, so I'm using a ski pole. Thomas Gradgrind was a character in Dickens' Hard Times. He was a teacher who was so intent on stuffing his children full of facts, his own children and his school children, that he demoralized them. That, my friends, is what Bill and Melinda Gradgrind, I call them, Bill and Melinda Gradgrind want to do. They want to measure everything because I'm sure they're very nice people and they're great philanthropists. Why wouldn't they be? They've made billions and billions of dollars off to Microsoft. They have invented software that tests children, so of course they believe that's what you ought to do. Test them, test them, test them. Grind them into standardized perfection. Make their lives miserable in the name of achievement. Oh, heavens, they must achieve. I suggest that they read Hard Times by Charles Dickens. Now, why am I standing here before you wearing all this frippery, all this fancy costume stuff? Because if I'm going to attack, well, let's not say attack. If I'm going to criticize the school boards across America, I need to put their armor on, the armor of academia. And I have no doubt that the school boards are good people. I've had many of their children in class in the last 25 years. I've had the superintendent's children in class. I've had the principal's children in class. They're good people, but like me, they are afraid to criticize the new God in America. Data, data, data. At all costs, we must squeeze data out of our children. Who cares if we make them miserable? Have you ever thought about this? Some comedian said it a few years ago, but it's absolutely true. 50% of every graduating class of medical students is in the lower half of their class. So you have a 50% chance of having a doctor who is in the lower half of his class. Every year, 1 million students will take this standardized test. And if little Johnny or little Jane gets a 40 percentile, that means that's Of that million students, 600,000 of them did better than little Johnny or Jane. Not the 8 or 10 in the class in their school, but the 600,000 of that million that were tested. Let's make a little visual aid here. Here's 600,000 at the top. Well, that doesn't look like a 6. Let me try it again. 600,000. And here is a little triangle, and at the bottom, I'm going to put a J for little Johnny or little Jane. Is that kind? You know, year after year, I would take the standardized tests in school. Myself, when I was in high school, I'd come in right in the middle. And then my high school guidance counselor told me I was not college material. The tests were wrong. He was wrong. I'm wearing the armor to prove it. And now I'm going to do the striptease to show you. This took 17 years of my life. I went to college for 17 years, 4 different schools. These little necklaces here are called hoods. They're master's hoods. I have 3 master's degrees. I'm going to take them off and show them to you. One by one. I don't know in what order. This, I think, is the master's hood from Kent State University, where I got a Master of Education in 1972. I had graduated from Ithaca College a couple of years before with a BA in English, Bachelor of Arts in English, magna cum laude, that means with great praise. And I went to Kent State, and yes, I was there when the shootings happened. And this is the Master of Education degree from Kent State. I'm going to put it right here. And I'm going to go out of order now, and I'm going to skip ahead. That was 1972. The last degree I got was 1997 from Middlebury College, right here in Vermont. And this is the master's hood from that. Breadloaf School of English, the largest graduate department of English in the world. It meets only in the summer. All of the students are teachers. All of the faculty are from distinguished institutions around the country, Ivy League institutions, and from Oxford in some cases. This is the master's degree from that. It took 7 summers, full-time, for me to get that. Now this one, is the Master of Divinity degree from Yale Divinity School. I went to Yale University. The Divinity School is the oldest school in America, older than Harvard Divinity School, and it was the predecessor to Yale University. There are 2 degrees at Yale Divinity School, Master of Arts in Religion, which is the easier degree, and the harder degree, Master of Divinity. Master of Divinity is called ABD, all but dissertation. You do all the work for a doctorate, except write the dissertation. Yale Divinity School purposely does not have a doctorate. They don't want their students to be doctors. They want them to be activists and crusaders. And so they top off the degree at the Master of Divinity degree. But to acknowledge the fact, so this is the master's hood from Yale Divinity School. That was 1980. That took 4 years. To acknowledge the fact that you did all the work for the doctorate except write the dissertation, you get to wear the doctor's robes. That's what these 3, I can't even see what I'm doing in the camera here. That's what these 3 stripes mean. They mean doctor. But the fact that you're wearing a hood means you're not really to be called doctor. You've just done the work for a doctorate, the academic work, not the research work in writing a dissertation. It's called ABD, all but dissertation. So I'm going to take that off now. And I'm awfully glad to, because it's hot in here. So there they are. How dare you, the school board, might say, you impudent puppy, how dare you challenge us? Well, in my case, I'd be an impudent old dog, not an impudent puppy. How dare you challenge us? There's how I dare. 17 years in college. Those degrees entitle me to think about serious questions. But there's something else that entitles me to speak on this matter, and it's around my neck. This necktie is one of about 50 neckties that I have that I wore every day as a teacher for 25 years. I was totaling it up last night. It's about 4,500 class sessions. I never appeared in class, even though I wore crazy shirts and pants, without a necktie, because I was raised to believe that a necktie showed respect for your profession and respect for the people you are working with. One day, accidentally, I drove to school and I'd forgotten the necktie. I actually got in my car and drove home again to get the necktie. This necktie, by the way, I got all my neckties at the Glad Rag sale in Woodstock. You ever been? It's great. They're $2 a piece. And they're fabulous because rich people donated them. This necktie is Brooks Brothers, cost $75. I got it for $2. There's a little hole in it. Don't worry about it. You'll never see it. I'm taking it off. That's my 25 years of teaching right there. That's why I can challenge the school boards. There's another reason I can challenge the school boards, and it's in my back pocket. You know what that is? My wallet. I'm a taxpayer. Whether I had all this phony baloney academic folderol or not, I'm entitled as a taxpayer. And so are you to challenge your school board. And school boards across America are being unkind to late bloomers. In fact, it may be a form of discrimination. If there's a civil rights lawyer listening to this, I wish you'd get in touch with me, because I think this might be an unacknowledged form of discrimination. Just go to Paul Keene Independent, my Facebook page, and message me. And I'll buy a cup of coffee at the Tucker Box downtown. And you got to spell Keene with an A, not like New Hampshire, K-E-A-N-E, or you won't get it. Go to Facebook, type in Paul Keene Independent. Not just Paul Keene, you won't get it. Paul Keene Independent. And message me. So, those are the reasons I stand on in challenging the school board. But there's more than just reason. There's emotion. And I want to show you that too. Now we're going to do the real striptease. Watch out, this might be X-rated. Unbuttoning the shirt. Here's the reason. Well, it was in here. Here it is. It's in the wrong side. My heart. Better button this shirt up or we'll get shut down. You know, they used to have something, I forget what it was called. You'd go to a theater, and if there was a striptease, the police would come in and arrest you. It wasn't a racket squad, but it was something, moral squad or some darn thing. This heart is every mother's heart and every father's heart in America. It's my heart. And I'm asking you to listen to me. Listen to your heart. Don't listen to Bill and Melinda, billionaire grad grind. Don't listen to the phony Princeton Educational Testing Service and their money-hungry clones. Don't listen to Secretary Arne Duncan of the U.S. Department of Education and his race to the top, which is really a race to the pot. And I'm not talking about marijuana. A race to the pot of gold. He's luring schools to test their students incessantly by rewarding them with money. Don't listen to any of them. Listen to your mother's heart, your father's heart. Now I have to tell you, I was going to say, you know, there's no law that says your kid has to take a standardized test. I even formed a little group, Boost, Better Opt Out of Standardized Testing. And I was going to ask you to join and get a form. But I think there is a law. I think that's what the federal government has said. Every student has to take the test. And that's why I think it's a form of discrimination. And so I'm asking you, parents, to rebel against the law. You know, and I know it's unkind. It may be cruel, and it may be a form of discrimination that's illegal. The wonderful thing about truth is that once you utter it, it can't be erased. You know, and I know, that standardized testing of late bloomers is cruel and unkind. Don't be the coward I was for 25 years. Stand up and speak out against it. Thank you very much. Are we done?